Lucas Harrington had always been the epitome of wealth and charisma, a man whose presence alone could command a room. Tonight, however, the stakes felt higher than ever. His penthouse, perched high above the city skyline, gleamed with sparkling lights that reflected off glass walls, crystal chandeliers, and polished marble floors. The air was thick with anticipation, every detail meticulously arranged, from the imported champagne chilling in silver buckets to the delicate hors d'oeuvres prepared by a world-renowned chef. Lucas had spared no expense. Tonight was not merely another party. It was a declaration, a public unveiling of the next chapter in his life. Veronica Chase, his fiancée, was poised to make her entrance as the perfect symbol of success, beauty, and compatibility. She had rehearsed her smile, her wave, and the subtle nods to key socialites who would define public opinion long before the party ended. Meanwhile, invitations had reached every corner of the city's elite society, including a particular envelope addressed to someone Lucas hadn't expected to see: Isabella Moore, his ex-wife. Isabella had once been the center of his universe, the woman who had shared both triumphs and heartbreaks with him. She arrived in a gown of understated elegance, her confidence radiating with every step. The room seemed to shift subtly as she moved through clusters of guests, many of whom remembered her charm and grace. She was here on her own terms, unbothered by Lucas or Veronica. Yet, the unspoken tension between the three promised an electric night, one where glances could ignite whispers, and every interaction might be scrutinized, photographed, and remembered. Lucas, entirely focused on introducing Veronica, remained oblivious to the storm quietly approaching. Lucas glanced across the room, expecting to see Veronica capturing the attention of every influential guest, her laughter light, her posture flawless, every move designed to cement her place as the new center of his life. Yet, as his eyes swept the crowd, they paused on a figure that made his chest tighten unexpectedly: Isabella Moore. Memories flooded back unbidden: candlelit dinners atop skyscrapers, champagne toasts at charity galas, the whispered promises in quiet corners of penthouse suites. Their marriage had once been a dazzling display of power and romance, each appearance meticulously curated to impress high society. But beneath the glitter, cracks had formed. Lucas's ambition and relentless pursuit of status had overshadowed intimacy, leaving Isabella feeling unseen and unappreciated. Her graceful exit from his life had been both her liberation and his loss, a quiet but profound reminder of the woman who had once understood him completely. Now, the room became a delicate battlefield of contrasts. Veronica floated through clusters of socialites, eager to charm and secure her foothold, while Isabella moved with measured elegance, radiating calm confidence that drew subtle, admiring glances. Guests whispered as they noticed the unspoken tension, fleeting eye contact, the slight stiffening of Lucas's posture, Veronica's forced smile as she sensed the shadow of the past encroaching upon her carefully staged moment. The party transformed into more than just a social event. It was a collision of timelines, a living tableau where history and ambition intersected, leaving every guest silently anticipating the inevitable sparks. The grand double doors swung open with a flourish, and Lucas Harrington stepped through, his arm firmly around Veronica's waist. The room erupted in flashes of light as cameras captured their polished smiles and impeccable style. Veronica wore a gown encrusted with diamonds that sparkled like constellations, designed to mesmerize and assert her presence as the new woman by Lucas's side. Every step they took was choreographed for effect, every nod and laugh calculated to impress the influential crowd. Lucas basked in the admiration, fully expecting the room to revolve around the debut of his fiancée. But the carefully constructed scene shifted the moment Isabella Moore glided in. Her dress was understated yet striking, a soft champagne hue that caught the light with a subtle elegance, a contrast to Veronica's ostentatious sparkle. She moved with effortless poise, commanding attention without effort. Conversations slowed mid-sentence. Champagne flutes paused at lips as the elite guest's eyes followed her. Whispers spread like wildfire. "Isn't that? It's Lucas's ex-wife." The room's energy subtly pivoted, as if Isabella carried with her an invisible gravity that pulled focus away from Veronica. Lucas felt a flicker of unease. Veronica's carefully curated smile faltered for a fraction of a second, just long enough for him to notice. The carefully staged debut meant to solidify Veronica's place was under siege. Not by confrontation, but by the quiet power of a woman who had once been the center of Lucas's world. Lucas moved through the crowd with practiced ease, positioning Veronica at the center of conversations and photo opportunities. He praised her taste in fashion, her philanthropic efforts, and even nudged reporters toward her for interviews, determined to ensure that every eye remained on the woman he had chosen to display as his new partner. Veronica played her part flawlessly, laughing at his jokes, engaging with guests, and holding her posture perfectly. From the outside, it seemed like a flawless partnership, a strategic alignment of beauty and influence. Yet, despite Lucas's efforts, Isabella's presence radiated naturally. She navigated the room with an effortless charm, conversing with friends and acquaintances in a way that was both sincere and magnetic. Her laughter was light but genuine, her anecdotes engaging, and her intelligence subtly evident in every discussion. Guests who had never met her before were drawn in, captivated not by showmanship, but by authenticity, the kind of presence that left a lasting impression. Every compliment, every smile she received carried an unspoken acknowledgement of the woman she had always been. Graceful, strong, and undeniably magnetic. Veronica noticed it too. The smiles that once seemed exclusively hers now drifted toward Isabella. The attention she thought secured began to waver, leaving her with a fleeting sense of insecurity. Lucas, sensing the shift, felt an unfamiliar tension coil in his chest. For the first time that evening, he realized that charisma and authenticity could not be staged or bought, and Isabella held both effortlessly. In a dimly lit corner of the grand ballroom, a small group of influential guests huddled, their voices low but tinged with excitement. Journalists whispered into recorders and smartphones, sharing observations about the evening's most captivating presence. "She's as radiant as ever," one remarked, eyes following Isabella as she engaged effortlessly with a cluster of philanthropists. "I can see why Lucas was captivated," another added, scribbling notes for tomorrow's column. The undercurrent of admiration for Isabella was unmistakable. Across the room, Veronica's friends exchanged nervous glances. They noticed how heads subtly turned, how conversations seemed to pause when Isabella entered a new cluster of guests. One leaned toward another, murmuring, "She doesn't even try, and everyone's hanging on her every word." Veronica, initially confident, felt her carefully constructed aura of influence waver. She forced a smile, engaging in small talk, but the effort contrasted sharply with Isabella's effortless magnetism. Lucas, making his rounds, caught fragments of these conversations. Nostalgia pricked at him as he heard praise for Isabella's charm, intelligence, and grace. Pride stirred alongside anxiety, pride for what he had once loved, anxiety over the realization that he might have underestimated her enduring presence. Isabella, aware but serene, never sought to dominate or compete. She merely existed, and the room responded naturally. The subtle battle between presence and intention became palpable. Veronica's carefully staged brilliance versus Isabella's innate charisma, leaving Lucas torn between past and present, admiration and guilt. Lucas stepped onto the raised platform, holding his champagne glass aloft. "Ladies and gentlemen," he began, his voice confident, "tonight we celebrate not only our annual gathering but also a very special person in my life, my fiancée Veronica Chase." Polite applause filled the room, cameras clicked, and the flashbulbs illuminated Veronica's radiant smile. She leaned slightly toward him, clearly thrilled to be the focus of the evening. Yet, even as Lucas delivered his speech, Isabella stood nearby, poised and calm, an understated elegance that drew the eyes of every guest. She did not move forward or attempt to upstage. She simply existed in the space, radiating confidence and warmth. Reporters' lenses captured both women, and social media attendees quietly began noting the contrast. Veronica's dazzling, carefully styled appearance versus Isabella's effortless charm and composed demeanor. Conversations rippled through clusters of guests, murmuring admiration for Isabella's intelligence, her witty remarks, and the natural ease with which she connected with everyone she met. Lucas felt a tug of unease. His carefully orchestrated moment, intended to showcase his new relationship as a statement of moving forward, now felt diminished. Every glance toward Isabella reminded him of the Grace he had once dismissed, the warmth and intelligence that had made her unforgettable. Veronica's attempts to draw attention, leaning in, highlighting accomplishments, laughing a little louder, fell short against Isabella's quiet magnetism. Cameras and guests alike captured it all. The toast meant to celebrate the new was subtly overshadowed by the enduring presence of the past. The symbolic moment was clear. No matter wealth, status, or presentation, authenticity commanded respect, a lesson Lucas could not ignore as he glanced uneasily between the two women. Veronica slipped quietly onto the terrace, the cool evening air brushing against her face as she tried to steady her racing heart. From her vantage point, she could see Isabella moving through the crowd with effortless grace, laughing gently with influential guests and offering thoughtful compliments. Every smile, every nod, every light touch of connection seemed to draw admiration naturally, without any effort or self-consciousness. Veronica felt her chest tighten, a pang of jealousy mixed with insecurity. She had worked meticulously on her appearance, rehearsed charming anecdotes, and prepared herself to shine beside Lucas, yet it seemed that no amount of preparation could compete with Isabella's innate elegance and warmth. Lucas noticed Veronica's sudden retreat and excused himself from a nearby group, following her to the terrace. He found her leaning against the railing, staring distantly at the city lights, her hands gripping the marble edge. "Are you okay?" he asked gently, though he felt a knot of unease himself. He sensed her tension, her insecurity, and yet he also felt the stirring of old memories, the laughter they had shared, the connection that once felt irreplaceable. Inside, Isabella continued to engage with the guests, completely unbothered, her kindness and charm effortless. She wasn't trying to compete, yet her presence highlighted Veronica's struggles and reminded Lucas of what he had once dismissed. The stark contrast forced him to confront emotions long buried: admiration, regret, and a subtle aching recognition of loss. The terrace became a silent stage of emotions. Veronica's anxiety, Lucas's conflicted heart, and Isabella's calm, commanding grace. Lucas felt a magnetic pull as Isabella extended her hand toward him, a quiet invitation to join the dance floor. The soft strains of a classical waltz floated through the room, the chandeliers casting a warm glow over the assembled guests. He hesitated for a fraction of a second before taking her hand, feeling the familiar weight of her touch, the subtle warmth that had once comforted him through countless nights of ambition and social obligations. As they moved together, memories surged unbidden. Stolen glances during late-night events, whispered laughter shared over private jokes, and tender moments of connection that had seemed inconsequential at the time but now felt monumental. Isabella guided the dance with effortless grace, her poise unshaken, her demeanor composed. There was no attempt to rekindle what had been lost, yet every step, every turn, every subtle glance reminded Lucas of the depth of their shared past. He felt a pang of regret, realizing how much of himself he had neglected in pursuit of status and image. Veronica, across the room, noticed the dance and felt her carefully constructed confidence falter as the crowd's attention seemed to gravitate toward Isabella's natural elegance. Amid the swirling music and glittering lights, Lucas experienced a profound awakening, the void Veronica could not fill, the intangible bond that only Isabella embodied. For the first time, he understood how deeply he had underestimated the woman he once loved. As images from the luxury party flooded social media, Isabella's presence became the focal point. Photographers had captured her natural elegance, the effortless way she engaged with guests, and the warm, genuine laughter that contrasted sharply with Veronica's staged smiles. Influencers shared posts with captions like, "The real queen of the evening," and "Grace and poise unmatched," while countless comments praised Isabella's charm, intelligence, and magnetism. Within hours, trending hashtags revolved around her rather than Veronica, highlighting the ex-wife who seemed to own the room without trying. Veronica watched in disbelief as notifications pinged on her phone, revealing the overwhelming admiration Isabella commanded. Every carefully curated post she had shared, her sparkling gown, her rehearsed interactions, seemed pale in comparison to Isabella's natural charisma. The realization hit hard. Charisma, warmth, and elegance cannot be manufactured, no matter the designer dress or sparkling jewelry. The public's perception validated what Lucas had been feeling all evening, leaving Veronica both frustrated and insecure. Lucas, scrolling through the coverage from a private corner, felt a complicated surge of emotions. Pride for Isabella's composure, nostalgia for the bond they once shared, and a twinge of regret for the choices that had driven them apart. For the first time, he saw clearly the lasting impact of Isabella's presence, a reminder that some connections, some personalities, remain unforgettable regardless of time or circumstance. Weeks after the glittering luxury party, Lucas Harrington sits alone in his private office, reflecting on the evening that unexpectedly reminded him of the indelible mark Isabella left on his life. He scrolls through articles and social media posts, all highlighting her effortless charm, poise, and intelligence. Each headline praises her natural elegance, contrasting sharply with Veronica's carefully constructed image. The realization hits him with quiet force. Respect and admiration cannot be bought, and true charisma leaves an impression that lingers far longer than wealth or status ever could. Veronica, once eager to assert her presence in Lucas's world, now keeps her distance, understanding that admiration cannot be staged or imposed. Her frustration slowly gives way to acceptance, as she witnesses the natural magnetism that Isabella exudes. Isabella, meanwhile, continues to flourish socially and personally, attending events, nurturing meaningful relationships, and engaging in endeavors that reflect her character rather than her past connections. Lucas understands that while he attempted to turn a page with a new chapter in his life, the past, embodied by Isabella, remains ever present. Her spotlight was never stolen. It was earned, born from dignity, confidence, and genuine intelligence. The party became a lesson in timeless grace, a reminder that some presences are unforgettable and leave a legacy far beyond fleeting attention or social posturing.